On paper, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might seem great. 21.6 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4.9 assists, which is great. We really have to talk about how great this man is compared to NBA stars. We also have to talk about the disrespect by mainstream media. Bleacher Report put this man as 38th best in the NBA. Let's start off with Shai's offensive capability. This man last season led the NBA in drives per game. That means he led the league in drive field goals, field goal makes, and he is third in overall driving assists. He would most definitely led the league last season, but we know the lack of shooters that this man has around him in Oklahoma. In terms of driving to the basket, Shai actually ranked 5th last season in field goal percentage. And we already know, looking at his percentages, that this man can shoot from anywhere, so that kind of just proves he's a three-way scorer. And something else is that Shai is actually, stat-wise, one of the best isolation players of this generation. 87.1% of his baskets were actually unassisted, just created by himself. Well, 2 years ago, he played with Chris Paul, and that meant he didn't really need the ball in his hands as much. So him now in Oklahoma, all he has is really Lu Dort, but Lu Dort isn't as much of a ball handler as Shai. This and last season was the first times that Shai actually had to really be the number one option. He really had almost no time to really adjust to being the best player. After really becoming that, he became one of the most double-teamed players. Again, he's doing this with a team that has historically terrible spacing. And to be honest, the amount of assists that Shai gets really do not show how great of a playmaker this man is. If we really look at his passing highlights, you can see that this man, with his offensive ability and his playmaking, his IQ, his gravity, gravity being when he's on the floor, everyone on the defensive side of the court is looking at this man, that they even start ball watching and leave this man open. And no, I'm not going to try to convince you that Shai is a good defender, which he isn't awful, but he isn't really that great. He did actually get better last season after putting on some weight, but he still has some work to do on the defensive side. Now we need to talk about the worst argument against any player on a bad team. Empty stats. And the basic argument is, they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. He's putting up these stats because the team is bad. And last season, if Shai was playing the whole season, they would have been in the play-in if we average out, their win-loss ratio with Shai, which was 16-19. If you want somebody to carry you to at least 500, call Prime Russ back. Real empty stats are players who put up a lot of stats, but do it with terrible efficiency, and their team just does not win. And I hate the argument of, they're still going to be under 500, they're not going to be in the playoffs. Of course, they're a rebuilding team, but can we appreciate greatness real quick? I really do believe that this man could be a superstar, and I think he's already an all-star. At this current moment, I could really put this man against, certain young players. For example, De'Aaron Fox and John Morant. Maybe not John Morant this season, but definitely last season. De'Aaron Fox and SGA are very young, good players that are comparable. We could stop the talks of him being top 25 because some people really just don't think this man is even top 30, which is a problem. And that is why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is massively underrated.
On the three, on the way!